In this video, I interviewed documentary filmmaker Griffin Hammond talking about the GH5, which is going to be dropping to the public in just a few months. Coming up. Hey, what's up guys? Sean here with Think Media TV, helping you go further, faster in media. And we're here at CES, and I'm with Griffin Hammond, who's a documentary filmmaker. He's got a well-known documentary called Sriracha about the hot sauce. How's it going?
It's going well. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks so much for being here. Now, you've been shooting with the GH5 already. People are going crazy about this. They're so excited. Of course, the GH4 is so popular for filmmakers, YouTubers, content creators. And so, what do you like about the GH5 so far? What are some of your first impressions?
Well, I loved the GH4, so I love that this camera can do all those things. But then they also added in-body image stabilization, which for me, I'm a handheld shooter, and that's just crazy because it just gets rid of that little jitter that was happening, especially that you would notice in 4K. A lot of the lenses have had optical image stabilization, but now they've added it to the body. So the body has in-body image stabilization, and when you put them together, they can work in tandem, and it's called dual IS, dual image stabilization. But some lenses, like my favorite 12mm prime, doesn't even have any stabilization built in. So with this new body, it now has that.
Absolutely. And so we were talking about some of the things. Have you shot in the different frame rates? One of the big announcements is 4K 60 frames. Then you have 30 with the 422 10-bit. Yeah. Talk about those.
Well, yeah, so this camera can do 60 frames per second in 4K. So I thought I would shoot a doc actually in that native frame rate. And I shot a doc about ice shavings in New York and cocktails. And those extra frames and being able to shoot with half the shutter speed to eliminate motion blur meant that I could capture all those little particles flying around really well with the camera.
Now, they announced 225 points of autofocus, as well as some autofocus during video, the ability to touch the screen. Talk about that.
Well, I already liked the autofocus on the GH4, and this still has a lot of those same features, like it can do continuous autofocus while you're rolling. If you want to track a human face, you can do that. I actually just like the push to focus. I'll set my focus before a shot and just let it sit. I don't want it to change during the shot.
That's awesome. So obviously a lot of professionals want to use this camera, and it's accessible, it's affordable, and you get disproportionate features. But even for someone like a YouTuber, could this work pretty good? You can flip the screen out, point it at yourself, do that face tracking, and it'll autofocus track your face, things like that.
Yeah, I mean they've had the flip out screen for several generations on this, and the continuous autofocus with face tracking, that's all helpful. Even as focus peaking, so if you do want to do it manually, you can see pretty well what's in focus and what's not.
Absolutely, I love that. Now, one of the things you mentioned, and behind us is some footage that you shot. I'm curious, what are some of the things you learned shooting some of that footage? And you mentioned some of it was handheld because the image stabilization is that good.
Yeah, most of the film is handheld. And one thing I really liked about shooting in 60p with half the shutter speed is that every frame looks a little bit more like a photograph. There's less motion blur, so I can pull out almost any still from the film and it just looks really good.
Wow. So what are some of the other features on the camera?
They added dual SD card slots, which as a filmmaker I didn't think I'd really need. I thought that was more of like a photographer function. But it turns out I can allocate video to one card and time-lapse photos, I shoot a lot of time-lapses, to the other card. And just from an organization standpoint, that's really helpful. I can also just let it relay record across both. So if I run out of space, it won't stop recording. It'll just go on to card number 2.
That's awesome. And how did you shoot those time-lapses with the GH5?
There's a built-in what's called an intervalometer. There's a time-lapse mode, and I would just have it shoot a photo every second. And I would use one of my widest angle lenses and get just kind of this beautiful establishing shot of the city, and then speed it up in post.
I love that. And have you messed with the 6K photo feature at all?
I haven't. I'm not really a photographer, but I am excited for the 6K photo mode. Will also do eventually they're going to release a firmware update where you can record video using the whole sensor in 4x3, and that offers some really interesting possibilities, including anamorphic lenses.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for sharing a little bit with us. Where can people find you and everything you're doing on social media? What are your links, things like that?
If you just go to griffinhammond.com or just Google me, you'll find my YouTube channel and all my stuff on social.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Griffin.
Yeah.
So thanks so much for checking out this video. Definitely subscribe for more videos just like this. And for all of our CES coverage, we'll link up a playlist on the YouTube card as well as in the description. Until next time, Think Media TV is helping you go further, faster in media. Keep crushing it, and we will talk soon.